Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? I hope so. So good afternoon, everyone, and please welcome to the worldwide premiere of the Olympic Channel original series, Taking Refuge, Tokyo 2020. My name is Irina, and I will be helping you with the press conference today. And first, I would like to present you our speakers for today, the leaders of the project Make a Mark, Nicola Campriani, 3 times Olympic champion 2012 and 2016, and Abhinav Bindra, Olympic champion 2008. Welcome.
Hello, hi. Well, very first digital press conference of my life, so I hope everything will work fine. I hope you and your loved one are safe and well. Thank you so much for joining us. The idea is really to present the project, present the series, and also we're going to have a Q&A session at the end of it.
Thank you, Nico, and a few words from Abhinav.
Yes, firstly, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I hope all of you are well, your families are well, and all keeping healthy and safe. Looking forward to the proceedings this afternoon, and let's get going.
Thank you, Abhinav. So I probably will be the first one to start asking questions, and my first question would be to Nico. Nico, could you please tell us when and how the project started?
Yeah. So, well, I guess it started with the last shot of the Olympic Games in Rio 2016, technically speaking. That was really not just the last competition shot of the Games, but the last competition shot of my life. And that's the decision that I took before going to the Games. And after that, for me, it was really about figuring out what was next. Also trying to find some meaning after spending 16 years staring at a piece of paper, because that's basically what we do. And at the same time leveraging on this label of Olympic champion to do something good and to give back to the community. So as an Italian, the refugee cause is one of the big one, always on the front page, very close to my heart. So yeah, I knew that there was a Olympic IOC refugee team in Rio 2016, and probably there was going to be one in Tokyo. So I thought that I could help, and basically, yeah, I contacted few of the former colleagues, former sponsors. Let's see if we can put together a budget and the equipment that we need to put together a small team. And that's what we did. After that, we reached out to the local community of refugees here in Canton Vaud in Lausanne, because at the same time after I retired, I joined the IOC, so I moved to the headquarters. And I just didn't want to lose contact with my sport and with the athletes base. So yeah, the idea was really to help them to reach the minimum qualifying score for Tokyo 2020. Of course, it's impossible to qualify with an Olympic quota in 1 year. I mean, it took me about 8 years to get that quota, but it's also tricky to reach the minimum qualifying score. Usually it takes a couple of years, maybe 3. So it was a challenge within a challenge, and we started this with 500 days to go to Tokyo. Well, back then in March 2019. And we found amazing athletes and amazing human beings, and it has been quite a journey.
Thank you, Nico. As you heard right now, Nico was the one starting the project, but a little bit later we had another great athlete joining the project with Abhinav. And my next question would be to Abhinav. We know that you started supporting the project quite early as well, but how did you learn about it?
Well, I think I've seen firsthand the power of sport to change lives. I know it changed mine. After retirement as an athlete, I knew I still wanted to continue to do good in the world and through sport. As a member of the IOC's Athletes Commission, my travel got me in touch with Nico in Lausanne. who told me about the plans he had. I was really, really taken in by the story, and more importantly, by his passion for the concept. I even went to interact with Kalua, Mahdi, and Luna at the World Archery Excellence Center. I was really touched by their resolve, their determination, and commitment, and I felt very deeply that I had to contribute to the project. I almost immediately volunteered to help in any way that I could. And 1 year later, here we are. It's been great to see so many more people come on board onto this project, including some dear friends. Our journey has proved time and time again that sport has the power to unite people from across the world. And Nico and I are both excited about what lies ahead. And we really hope that this project will touch the lives of many more in the world. Nico, from the beginning, has always told me that he envisions this project to be taken forward by more Olympic champions and fellow athletes as they take on more refugees to be part of the project, whatever their sport may be. Make a mark is the way that we've chosen forward. Our website has just gone live under www.makeamark.sport with a few details of the journey so far, and we are going to slowly and steadily going to be putting on much more information and details about the athletes, as well as have information to come forward as a donor or a partner or a future participant. So that's been my involvement so far. It's been very, very meaningful, I have to say.
Thank you very much, Abhinav. Definitely your contribution to the project was incredible and very much valuable. My next question would be again to Nico. And Nico, how did you come up with the idea of the series?
Yeah, and that is one of the points that I guess it's relevant for you guys of the media, because today is the premiere of the first episode, and then later today you will see it will be available the first 5 episodes of the Taking Refuge series. That's basically the storytelling of the project. I had the chance to meet my colleagues of the channel in 2018 on different projects. At the beginning in the IOC, I was involved in the athlete career program, so we were discussing about this, and then I guess after a coffee break, I raised the point of my initiative, and at the same time I was really asking help in terms of spreading the message, because that is really the goal of this project. I mean, of course, we want to change the life of the athletes involved, but we want much more, as Abhinav said. Ideally, we want a legacy that lasts after Tokyo. And then there was interest from the channel point of view to tell this story, and there was a great synergy for us, because one thing is to present the project as we're doing right now with words, and the other is to actually show the faces, the eyes of the athletes. So I had the chance to meet with Nicola, who's if I'm not mistaken is part of this conf call from the Olympic channel. And maybe Nicola, you can say a few words about the series, and you can launch yourself the episode 1 that we're gonna watch together. Let's see if it works.
Yes, sure. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, it's a very, very special day, I think, for all of us. I've been working together for more than a year, and with obviously Kaula, Luna, and Madi. I mean, we love doing special things, of course, at the Olympics. But I think this one is like truly embodying the spirit of what we do at the Olympic Games. So yeah, actually we were chatting about other projects for the channel, I think maybe 2 years ago with Nico. I remember the terrace looking at the lake at that time, and he just said, you know what, I want to train refugee because I feel the cause is important. I think you have been visiting refugee camps before. You didn't really tell that story, but it's very well crafted, I think, in the series. And you said something very strong to me. You said, I want them to be able to qualify, reach this minimum qualification score, giving them the opportunity, the skills, giving them a hand, had instantly felt like the true embodiment of the power of sports. And that's how the idea born in a way. So you both guys are like the pillar of that project, and I think this story is such a story of compassion, empowerment, the power of sport transforming lives, and giving those people the opportunity to be the best of themselves, to integrate even better, to get new skills, to get some of their confidence back, because they have been through difficult times. Like most obviously of the people who travel so far to find a new home. So I think it really felt instinctively as feeling Olympic Channel objective, which is to tell strong human stories that are behind the Olympic movement. And it's such an inspirational series, such inspirational stories. So we hope that bring youth and younger audience also different ideas about what refugee people can do in our society as well when we give them a hand. So I can just say, watch it now. It's yours, guys. Uh, and of course, the story and the project continues because the games have been pushed, but the passion is still there, and we're gonna stay behind. And so the series is available now. I just checked on the page. It's so good. Worldwide, 12 languages, including Italian and Hindi. So really excited to show you that first episode of the series and tell the world about that story, because that's one of a kind.
I think we can go with episode one.
Episode one, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola.
And wait for us. We will continue to talk after that. Thank you, Nicola.
Sure.
Well, thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed the first episode. And now again, I would like to pass the floor to Nico to give us a little update on what's happening with the athletes, what events they have participated, and what progress they made so far. Nico?
Yeah. So just quickly on what you just saw. So there was a selection day that happened in March 2019. And well, back then it was really 500 days to Tokyo. Now, of course, we have 364 days more. Just for the record, it was one of the happiest day of my sport career, and it happened after I retired. So that's something I want to send a message to all the athletes that are struggling with retiring, whether or not they should. Yeah, the life goes beyond. So how is it going? So by now you have met Madi, Kaola, and Luna. A few updates there. So Kaola is already joined the project as a mother. Back then, Ram was 6 months old. So he's growing with the project. There is a lot of babysitting involved in the project. In the meantime, Luna also decided to start a family. So at the moment, Luna is not training. She had a baby 3 months ago. And so we're really training with Madi and Kaola. So we have been now training together 3-4 times a week at the archery center here in Lausanne. Basically, we put together a rifle range in a corner of the archery center. And then thank you again for the hospitality. But basically we started also to compete, and that's the tricky part, right? Because usually before you get to the international level, you have some kind of gradual approach. You start with regional competition, national, so on, and then you get to international level. Their first competition was an international one. It was actually in Italy, They competed at the Italian Championship, so it's a bit of strange situation. They're handling very well, but they are competing internationally right away. And I don't want to spoil the episodes, but when it comes to reaching the minimum qualifying score, both Madi and Kaula have reached such a score. Once again, it doesn't mean that they are qualified for Tokyo, but they are now officially in the pool of eligible athletes to be selected. At the same time, this was, to be honest, a great opportunity also to provide additional support to them, not just on the sports side, but on the mental health side. I mean, this is a mental game. Shooting sport is a mental game. It's a great equalizer. I've seen people win the Olympics with all different type of bodies. But when it comes to mind, you gotta be strong. So that was a great way also to go around the stigma of working with psychologists, and right away it was clear that we had to work on that. And to be honest, it became a beautiful excuse to work on themselves. It's the same thing that, same journey that Abhinav and I did. It's in the end, what happens at the target is not the goal, but is a consequence of what's going on in your mind and in your heart. So that was really the journey that we started with them, and here we are with an extra year of training. So the postponement, of course, was a bit of a shock for everybody. But at the same time, if I look at Madi and Kaula, that means that they have twice the time that they thought they had for training. So yeah, that means extra weeks, extra months, and actually more competitions, which for us is more important to build that confidence. Just want to clarify a couple of things. So when it comes to the girls, they are fully recognized refugees by UNHCR. So if they do go to the games, they would go as IOC refugee team. And that's going to be a decision of the executive board down the road at some point before Tokyo 2020. When it comes to Madi, now he's an asylum seeker, but he's not fully recognized refugee. And here I learned so much. It's about the whole jungle of different type of visa and recognition. So he's representing Afghanistan, and actually in the competition that we attended to, for instance, the Asian Championship last year in November, he actually represented Afghanistan. So he was born in Afghanistan, but actually grew up in Iran and then left Iran. But yeah, he's representing Afghanistan. So we are in contact with the National Federation, with the National Olympic Committee. Once again, this project it's fully based on donations and crowdfunding. So yeah, we need that visibility actually to collect the budget, to travel really and attend different competitions. But yeah, this is our wonderful team. Now, when it comes to next steps in terms of the broader project and make a mark, I would give the floor to Abhinav.
Yes, for the next steps, we are already actively looking to interact with athletes that are interested in taking the project forward, whatever the sport may be. We will be glad to lend our expertise and share our insights that we've learned along the way to ensure that those who do pick up the project will be able to hit the ground running. Our website will grow into a one-stop bank of information on athletes going forward, where their updates on training, tournaments, and other information will continue to come up. Through the Abhinav Bindra Foundation, we are putting a format to begin crowdfunding, should people feel the need to contribute to the project and further redemptions going forward. A part of the website that will come up and be running soon is Make Your Mark. This will be a page that would give athletes and refugees the resources to learn more about how to get involved. We would even work on ways going forward where we could assist refugees on how to get into sport, or even over time start putting refugees and volunteers together should they like to help. Back to you, Irina.
Thank you very much, Abhinav. And I believe now it's time for questions. So, dear media representatives, now we are ready to open the floor for questions, and we kindly ask you to ask questions about projects and about the series. Please raise your hands. If using the function in Zoom, you can do it in the participant list window. I hope you know how to do it. So if you could open the participant list window, you will see the hand. So please use this function if you have a questions. And before you ask your questions, it would be great if you could introduce yourself, give us your name, give us the name of the organization, and as well as whom this question is addressed. Thank you very much.
This is the moment of truth
Yes.
from a technical standpoint.
Yes,
so
let's see how it works now with the Zoom.
Please bear with us.
Yes. So, do we have any questions on the floor?
Don't be shy.
Yes. Nico and Abhinav waiting. So our technology team is probably, because we don't see, right?
Yeah.
We don't see.
We have a WhatsApp group on the side, so we're
So
waiting
for
yes. Receive a question. Just in the meantime, just to fill the gap, information, we just restarted training about 2 weeks ago after the break due to the COVID measures. Our guys are all good, healthy. Just took a bit of a break, and I guess this extra year will give the opportunity to the opportunity to Luna to come back. So
it looks like we have hands raised physically in the window, because we don't see the window. If you could, our technology team, can you help us to guide us?
Can you put the video and the audio of those that are raising the hand physically? Thank you.
Okay, I think we have 2 questions from India, right? I would pass them to you. And who the questions are addressed? I see the names, but I don't see who you would like to ask questions. Abhinav or Nico?
Anyway, let's pass the floor.
Yes, to who? Yes, to who?
No, but like the question.
The question, but okay.
Yeah.
So can we pass the floor to those who came to us first? Tushar,
yes, yeah.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Nico. Hi, Abhinav.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Tushar Dutt from the Times of India newspaper. Yeah, my question is to Nico. Nico, how do you see the delay? I mean, you said they have the shooters have achieved the MQS, but they still, they are in the pool to qualify for the Olympics. What first thing is, what is the next step for their qualification? Second, how do you see the delay? Do you think this delay will be good for them because they'll get more time to train and more time to actually aim at the medals if they're positive enough?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So in terms of next step for the qualification, I mean, they reached the minimum qualifying score, but even if they are in this pool of eligible athletes, it's quite a competitive pool. So we don't know how big is going to be the delegation, for instance, of the IOC refugee team. There were 10 athletes competing in 3 sports in Rio. We can assume that it's going to be somewhere between 10 and 20. Not sure at this point in time, but as of today, I think there are about 50 IOC refugee scholarship holders. So it's the idea is not just to reach the minimum qualifying score, but as much as possible show that they reached a competitive level. So to be honest, we need to improve the score as much as possible. I mean, none of them are going there to participate. I don't know if it's really in the Coubertin spirit, but they really would like, and it's okay. I mean, I think they will appreciate the journey once the journey is over. Right now, they're very much determined to do well at the games. so we have no international competition, of course, this year, but yeah, we're aiming at more competition in 21. And the idea is to really raise the level as much as possible in order to give them a good chance to be selected. The postponement, look, it's, yes, I mean, in the end, it's 360 days more of training. It's for somebody that was going to compete at the games with 500 days, it's a game changer. So ultimately, yes, it was good. It wasn't easy for them, to be honest, the whole break and taking time off and the whole quarantine measures. But they're back to training, very motivated. We're gonna now find a shooting club in Switzerland as well, because one thing is 1 year project. We can train at the archery center, the 3-4 of us. But if we're going to do another year, we want them to also take full advantage of being in a sport community and yeah, meet other peers here in Switzerland. But ultimately, yes, of course, it is a good news for them. We just need to raise more funds in order to support the project until summer 21.
So thank you very much, Nico. There is one more question coming. I would say I would go with the question from addressed to Nico Compiani. It's from Hindu, Kamesh Srinivasan, and the next will be Michael Houston. So the question for Nico: how challenging is the additional time of preparation? What's the budget for the project, considering that now we have postponement? Yes.
In terms of impact of the postponement on the budget, on one side we had budget for 2 international competitions this year that didn't happen, and once again we don't foresee any international competition in 2020. So that budget has been basically moved to 21. Of course, there are a few other expenses in terms of running the training here at the archery center. So yeah, we do need additional support in terms of budget. I mean, it's really about covering the cost of travels and accommodation when it comes to competition. Of course, there is no per diem, nothing. I mean, we try to run as simple as possible, and yeah, I mean, to be honest, we don't want to spend the whole budget if we don't have to for Tokyo 2020. I mean, that's the whole point. Ideally, if any other Olympic champion or elite athletes wants to pick the baton, we're happy to at some point just smoothly transition into the next project. Right now, we are based on 2 foundations. One is the archery. World Archery Foundation, and the other is Abhinav's Foundation. So everything in terms of donation is coming into these foundations. If the project grows, we might have to open a Make a Mark Foundation, of course.
Thank you, Nico. So next question is to Michael Houston, and next will be Neru Bhatia. So Michael, the floor is yours.
Let's see if it works.
Yep, I hope you can hear me.
Yes. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Abhinav, and all the team that have put this together. Really just looking at the kind of main challenges that you saw when you're coaching refugees, and what do you feel are the challenges that they have in sport to access sport, and how much of it sorry, let me rephrase that. How much do you believe that there is untapped potential when it comes to refugees?
Can you just repeat the last part of the question? Yeah. Sorry, the audio wasn't. Yeah.
So again, just to reiterate, it was to ask what are the main challenges that you see the refugees have in sport, and how much do you believe there is untapped potential in sport for refugees?
Yeah, thank you. And if it's okay, I can start, but please feel free to jump in. So, I mean, the whole recruiting process was also interesting, right? Because we didn't know much about these candidates. So it was really a lot of work that we conducted with the respective social workers. Try to understand where these people come from, if there is anything that we need to be aware of, and to be honest, yes, there was a selection day, but the real selection happened in front of a coffee in a Starbucks, the one at Gare here in Lausanne. And it was really about talking to them, trying to understand what was the motivation, why did they want to be involved in the project, and trying to see that spark in the eyes. They're extremely motivated. At the same time, it's you know, I need to manage the expectations. You know, it's they want to go to the games, but as much as possible, I want them to enjoy the journey. Now, from my point of view, you know, there will be a life after Tokyo. The last thing I want is to have them focusing 100% on sport. That's the last thing I want. That's not how I lived my whole sport career. I was a student athlete for actually the best part of my career, 13 out of 16 years. It's always about putting sport in the context of life. So this is a beautiful excuse to do this journey together, to find an identity together. Them as refugee trying to integrate in Switzerland, me as a former Olympian try to integrate as a former athlete, because that's also for me was a bit of a shock in terms of change of daily routine and what I want next. It was great to do this journey together. It was a great way to be alone together in a way, but at the same time, I think really this. Going on the stigma and say that part of a preparation for this sport is working with psychologists. That's kind of like mandatory. I think that ultimately will help outside the field of play, and that's what we want. I mean, to be honest, we want them to maybe not to be strong, but to feel strong. That's for sure. And Abhinav.
No, I think Nico put it perfectly in. He's the one dealing with them on a day-to-day basis, so he has much more perspective on this. But I think I just like to say that, you know, yes, sport is important, but it is also using the power of sport to change people's lives and impact it in a positive manner. And I think that is an equal. Or even that is an element to me which is not even equally important. It's probably even more important than just the results on the field of play.
Thank you.
So I hope we answered your question. So and we pass the floor to Neru Bhatia and Francesco next. Thank you.
Yeah, we can. Hi. We can hear you. Neru, we can hear you.
So I'm sorry, I've lost the audio, so I'm typing out my question. I'm really sorry.
Yeah. No worries. Please go ahead. Okay.
So I believe we received the question in writing, right? So the question is training is one thing, but how...
Excuse me, I'm really sorry.
Okay. I would like to read the question to everyone. Is training is one thing, but how challenging will it be for you to prepare them to be ready for strong competitions? Are they ready enough? This is the question, yes.
Okay. I mean, it really depends what we mean with enough. I competed in 3 Olympic Games, and I was never ready enough, to be honest.
Nor was I.
So especially the last Olympic Games in Rio. Again, it really comes down to goal setting, right? And then that's why I think this sport is quite interesting as an analogy of life. You know, if you go into that Olympic final thinking that, you know, that the last shot will define who you are, with the whole world watching, I mean, good luck pulling the trigger. But the idea is to set the right goals and to believe in them. Because one thing is to say to the press, I'm going there to give my best, and then deep inside you kind of, you know, you dream about the goal, or is truly believe it. And the good thing about shooting sport is that you can't lie to yourself, and the target will always show the truth. So I think for me it was really leaving the firing point with no regrets. And to be honest, I hope these can become their goal as well. And then at the end we count. It's that simple, to be honest. Yeah. Abhinav, anything?
No, I think you put it really well. I think I just want to give another perspective into it. Since Niu asked about preparation for the Olympic Games, I think all three of our athletes, Madhi, Kaula, and Luna, would be athletes who would have had probably the most amount of camera training or media training or whatever you want to call it than any other athlete in the world, because of the production of the series. You know, they're pretty used to it, and you know, at the Olympic Games they're going to face just that. So in comparison to a lot of other athletes who do not normally on a day-to-day basis have that spotlight on them, our guys are quite ready, at least in that element. So but of course the bigger picture Nico already put forth.
Thank you, Abhinav. So now we pass the floor to Francesco Cecchini. I think it's Italy is now with us.
Yeah.
Yes. Next will be Digvijay Singh Deo.
Good job.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sir Francesco.
Ciao, Francesco. Go ahead.
Okay. Grazie, Niccolò. Thank you very much for all this project. And so I would like to ask Niccolò. So Madhi comes from Afghanistan, but what about the other? Because I missed their details. So where do Luna and Kaula come from? Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that's a very good question, because it gives me the opportunity to say that we're not going to disclose the country of origin for safety reasons. So I can say that Kaula comes from Middle East, and Luna comes from African country. But we won't release the country of origin or the last name. So when it comes to Madhi, yes, because he's representing Afghanistan, so we know that he was born in Afghanistan. But even when it comes to his last name, we had to come up with the last name specific for a competition. He picked it. It was Madhi Shojai, which means Madhi the Brave, and that's his competition name, which I didn't know, but surprisingly there are several athletes that do this also at the Olympic Games. So yeah, that's sorry, but yeah, we can't disclose it. But thank you.
Thank you. So next is Digvijay Singh Deo, and then Yaspret Zahni. Thank you very much.
Hi, thanks for this. Hi, Nico. Hi, Abhinav. I just wanted to pick up on something I heard in the on the documentary we just saw. Abhinav had spoken about this after he won his Olympic gold in 2008, and I was rather intrigued to see hear Nico speak about it as well, which is about not enjoying it. And you two are perhaps one of the most high-profile athletes in your sport in terms of shooting, in terms of what you have achieved. And if people like you are feeling that sort of an anxiety, then what is the advice both of you would have for young shooters who are now stepping up to that level? Because earlier displaying signs of anxiety or stress was seen as a weakness, but right now, as we know, this is getting rather serious. And that's the connection I really want to make is with both of you having achieved at the pinnacle of your sport and still feeling that sort of anxiety.
Yeah, thank you. Abhinav, you want to start?
Yes. I think one of the biggest misconceptions in elite sport is that, elite athletes are supposedly superhuman beings. But the reality of the matter is that we are human beings, and we are humans first and athletes after. And we are as vulnerable as anybody else. We probably have more triggers for a mental issue than perhaps other normal people, because we have fewer outlets. But the reality of the matter is, in elite sport, there are pressures that one has to deal with, and as you climb up the ladder, as expectations rise, perhaps your own expectations rise. It's not going to ever get easier. I mean, if competing at an Olympic final was a walk in the park or was an easy ride, I'm sure many more people would be able to achieve greatness. But the reality is that we're human beings and we're as vulnerable as anybody else, and that is a reality. And it is a reality that one has to accept, one has to work with, and one has to always take an active role and work on it actively. It can't be, you can't just ignore it. I think if you have issues, if you have any issues on anxiety, I think you have to deal with it. I competed for a long time in my career. I was always assailed by anxiety. It was, I never had a competition ever in my career, in my long career, that was an easy going. And I've had the chance in my life to interact with several Olympic champions in several sports, and although their performances look spectacular from the outside, and sometimes even very effortless to the spectator, but when you actually go and talk to them, what they feel inside, and when they are actually competing, it's really, really tough. But that is the nature of sport. That is the whole nature of competing at the highest level, and that is what you have to work with, and that is the nature of the game. And but the important thing is you have to deal with it, and you have to deal with it appropriately. You can't let it get the better of you. I think the important message that I'd like to give is that, of course, there is a sports side of it, and we all want to win and we all want to perform well, but sport is not the only thing in life. And as Nico put it very beautifully a few minutes ago, it's not that your last shot at the Olympic Games is not going to define who you are. There's much more about you as a human being, which actually in the real world defines you.
Yeah, just want to add quickly, because Abhinav summarized very well. I just don't agree with the equation that a gold medal is equal happiness. And you're talking to two of the most successful athletes in our own sport, but we do have the rights to be unhappy. It's not that because we won the gold medal we're supposed to be the happiest people in the world. Look, at the end of the day, it's about meaning. It's about being passionate and love what you do. I will never forget the sense of void of the day after we need the gold medal. It's like, okay, what's next? And it's so important to pass this message to every athlete, that it's not going to be on a podium that they will find the answer. And to be honest, for me, it was actually to reverse the equation, and was to be happy before pulling the trigger for the last shot. I mean, and then if I was happy, my chances to win the gold medal were actually much higher. But it's really who you are that define what you do, and the number of medals that you're going to win. So it's about working on yourself. This sport is amazing in that sense, because it really forces you to work on yourself. But it's okay to be blue from time to time. It's just especially in a sport where we put earplugs and we isolate ourselves, we realize the importance of raising the issue and flag it and reach out to peers, friends, family, entourage, and try to address it sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Nick. I think we are running a little bit late, so we'll try to finish as fast as possible with all our journalists. So next one is Yasprit Zakhni, and the next one will be Mihir Basavda. Sorry if I'm spelling the names in the wrong way. I'm very, very sorry, but Yasprit Zakhni. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
This is Jasprit. I'm from the Times of India. First of all, congratulations for this project and for its success. And thanks for inviting on this press conference. My question is to both Abhinav and Nico. there is a thing called athlete mindset, and we heard in the episode as well.
We lost you now.
Can you hear me?
Audio is not like now.
Can you
Yes.
can you hear me?
As soon as you start the question, yes.
Okay.
You repeat, thanks.
So I was asking that you picked up athletes, some of them who had never played any sport at all, and we heard that some of them saying this as well in the episode. And there is something called athlete mindset which needs to be developed first before you can train somebody to become a champion. That's the cause of this project. So how difficult was it to train them as an athlete first in the mind and then shoot at the target to hit the bullseye?
Yeah, I don't. Hi, thank you for the question. Sorry, I don't know if it's that sequential. I mean, I probably you know, when I joined the sport, it wasn't really about competing, right? It was I was enjoying what I was doing, and it wasn't about comparing my performance with the guy next to me. I was just trying to learn a very specific skill set, which was try to stay as still as possible, and it was a very personal challenge with me and the target. That's it. It was really a lot of fun, and slowly I think that mindset, that competitive mindset, developed along throughout the first trainings and the first competitions. So that's basically what we're doing. I think what is different here is that, you know, I talked for the first time to the sport psychologist after 7 years. And before that, it was really trying to figure out the best way to handle fear with my dad and my mom and, and a few other friends. So what is different is that we set a very clear and solid framework since the very beginning, which is actually very important, because one of the hardest thing is forget the bad habits. You know, it's my whole career was about remember to forget. So it's, the great thing is that we can set the right premises since the very beginning. But yeah, I guess, you know, it's they are discovering new part of themselves. To me, it was I didn't know what to expect actually at the first international competition, because I thought, okay, this guy saw everything. They had a very difficult past. For sure, it's not going to be a competition that will, you know, scare them. And they were so excited, so excited. And I had to remind them, it's like, look, this is just sport. Like, what's the deal here? And so we are we are learning this. We're learning this together. But yeah, I believe that it's a joint process. Yeah, and to be honest, after 16 years of shooting, I still don't know what makes a good shooter a good shooter. I have no idea. I don't know what talent is in my sport. I've seen 30, 40 people in the world that can easily do the world record in training. And when it comes to the Olympic Games, maybe one guy. And to be honest, the worst enemy is not me or Abhinav, is their own mind. So it's, you know, it's the potential is there. That's the fascinating part, to be honest, of my sport. The potential is there. It's about to unlock it in the right way, and that's what we're trying to do with Madi, Cal, and Luna.
Thank you very much, Nico. I believe we have three persons left. We have now Muhir Vasavda. Next is Anirudh Menon, and next one is Naveen Peter. So thank you very much. So I pass the floor to Muhir Vasavda now. Vasavda. Sorry if I say the name wrongly.
No, that's right.
Apologize. Good.
Congratulations, Nico, Abhinav, and the team. Nico, you mentioned a couple of times about their motivation, and that was one of the reasons why you chose them. Can you elaborate what were the motivations for Kaula, Madi, and Luna? Why, what actually got them to the sport, and what impressed you?
Yeah. So these happened before the selection day. I was really again in on a Starbucks table, and I was looking for something more than I want to go to the Olympic Games. I was looking for somebody that was very clear in terms of the purpose of the project, and of course the competitive part is important, but it was about sending a message, and for me, instead of pitching the idea, it was about listening to them. Some of them, it was really about I want to do this for me, for changing my life, to show that I'm strong, and these are all extremely valuable reasons to start the sport, don't get me wrong. But because this project, it was also about sending a message. I mean, there are some additional tasks that our guys have to deal with in terms of attending events and so forth, like fundraising events. So I think for me, it was very important that we were very much aligned since the very beginning on the objective, and for them, either was for Kaula to set an example to her son, and one day for her son to be proud of her, or Madi to send a message to the world when it comes to the refugee community, and you will see in the episode. Madi is incredible. He's so wise, and he always come up with a quote that you're completely unprepared of to hear. But you will see. I mean, as the ending of episode 2. I mean, there is no script in this series. The guys speaks with their heart, and it's incredible the things that they say, and so powerful. So with Madi, you could see that it was really about using sport as a mean to an end, and I think that's what I was looking for. Same thing with Luna, and to be honest, that was the whole thing. It was supposed to be one boy, one girl, but it was really hard to pick one girl. So we were one air rifle short, and just little story. I had to ask for my air rifle back from the Olympic Museum. I donated my air rifle after Rio, and I actually had to send a very awkward email to the Olympic Museum asking for my air rifle back for 1 year. So we had enough. Yeah, now it's 2 years. I need to send another awkward email soon. But it's we needed to collect more equipment. But yeah, I think it was really clear for me that the Olympics for them was a mean to an end. And sometimes I have to remind them this, because it's a tricky game. Yeah.
Thank you, Nika. So I hope it answers your question. And we have 2 persons and 1 question in writing. So I'll pass the floor to Anirudh Menon, and then Naveen Peter, and then we also have 1 question in writing. I will let Nika read it later from Tushar Dud. So Anirudh, the floor is yours.
Hi guys. Hi Nico. My question is to you. When you were considering doing this project, did you ever think 2020 might be too ambitious? Did you ever consider 2024? Did you consider going with younger athletes, considering it might be easier to train them in a sport they don't know? Did those thoughts run through your mind? And how did you come to the conclusion, let's do it for 2020? It's okay. I just need 500 days. I can do this.
So good question. Maybe I was a little bit naive when I started the project. Okay, I thought it was going to. So one thing that I haven't foreseen is having a virtual press conference 1 year later with all of you guys. But here we are. So look, even if we are preparing for Paris 24, we still have to go through 2020. So it doesn't hurt to try, and for me, I always knew that I was, London was probably going to be my games, but I gave it a try for Beijing, and I qualified 2 months before, and that experience was critical in order to perform well in London. So I mean, you accept the challenge, and you accept that you might not make it. I mean, that's sport. I mean, it's, you know, I was always very careful in managing their expectations. You know, the fact that we're trying to do this, it doesn't mean that we're going to go to the games, but the journey is still there, and nobody can take it away in terms of memories, in terms of, you know, with them, it's always the first time for something. You know, the first flight to Doha, it was the first flight of their life. So it was pretty, to see my sport with their eyes, for me, it is like I'm back in time. And it's actually the great way to have some closure from my sport career. But yeah, the thing is, we might fail. We are perfectly fine with it. Maybe not the guys, maybe they will understand after, but losing is part of the game, and the sooner also they can accept that, the sooner I think they will be able to perform. Yeah, maybe Tokyo is too early, but we already got an extra year. Thank you.
So thank you, Nico. So Naveen Peter, please.
Hi guys. Am I audible?
Yep.
Yes. Question. I have a question each for Nico and Abhinav. Abhinav, first up to you. We understand that Nico and his team, they were in India at the fag end of last year with the guys, and we know that it's been covered in one of the episodes of this documentary. Without divulging much about it, could you tell us what the experience was like for you at the center, and for Nico? Winning a gold medal or a medal at the Olympics is one thing, but competing at the Olympics, competing under the flag of your nation in itself is a greater aspect, right? Have you had conversations regarding this with the guys about competing under a flag at the games?
Abhinav, you start, so you give me some time.
Well, we are going to end this press conference with showing you a little trailer of the India episode. So I'm going to cover your part in just after all the questions are done. So just for the sake of time, I'd not like to repeat it, but I'll cover it just after the last question.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, then when it comes to the question about representing your country, well, that's yeah, I mean, of course, when it comes to Kaula especially, she would like to represent not the country where she grew up, but the country of origin. It's tough, right? I mean, it's really about feeling that you're belonging to a community. I mean, that's the whole point. You have 206 National Olympic Committees walking to the stadium, and we are part of each of us, our own respective community. At the same time, I do feel that in my sport career, I had two families. You know, and one was the Italian team, and the other was my sport community. I mean, I feel extremely close to my peers. I mean, with Abhinav, I mean, we kind of grew up together. You know, I spent more time with Abhinav than with my mom since 2007, and that's the truth for Kaminsky, and so on and so on. And in a way, I probably have more things in common with Abhinav and Kaminsky rather than I don't know, a boxer from Naples. So it's what I want to say is that maybe they found a different community to belong, and even if yes, it's true they will not represent their country, they still feel part of a community. I mean, this is true. You can feel it right away. We competed a few World Cups, and everybody was very interested about their story, and more people get to know them and wants to support and want to help during the training before the competition. So it's a different way to be part of a community, but it's still belonging to a community. And yes, I mean, the refugee team will walk into the stadium after Greece, if I'm not mistaken, as a second in the Olympic opening ceremony. Well, interesting enough, the second delegation to walk in is the refugee team. The third delegation should be Afghanistan because of alphabetical order. So if they both make it, I hope to be somewhere in between. But yeah, so it's we are a group in that sense.
Thank you. Now we have a very interesting question for Nico. I believe you will enjoy it. How did you deal with the hurdles that came during the journey? In this case, Marty's refugee status and the girls' decision to start families.
Yes, yes.
Your favorite one.
So for Mahdi's refugee status, now we have a guy in Kabul. That's a little bit strange way to say, strange things to say, but we had to start from scratch. I mean, Mahdi was here in Switzerland, but he wasn't a fully recognized refugee, but didn't have an ID from his Afghani origin, and he grew up in Iran, but with no documents. So he was a bit in a limbo. So we had to start from scratch. So first we needed to find a relative from his father's side in Afghanistan, in Kabul, in order to have an Afghani ID. Once we had the Afghani ID, we apply here in Geneva for a passport for Afghanistan and try to rush it in time for his first trip to Italy. We got the passport the day before the trip to Italy. It was it was an incredible journey, and I learned a lot. But now, Mahdi can travel everywhere outside Switzerland. So if this is the legacy of the project, that's already an achievement. When it comes to the girls, we were a little bit concerned about Kaula and the baby, and that's really why we went also for Luna as a backup. We haven't thought that the backup was going to have a baby herself, and but that happened. And to be honest, it's a very beautiful excuse to not be involved in the project. The postponement of Tokyo really gives the opportunity to Luna to come back and try to qualify as well. So we will see, but to be honest, Kaula is amazing in handling not just the training, but also she's studying as well and working and taking care of Ram. The husband of Kaula is very much supportive. That was for us very important. So I mean, I didn't expect, that I was going to change a diaper as part of the project, but it's a larger family, but it's a happy one. So yeah, we have still 1 year ahead. And to be honest, after Tokyo, I mean, of course, we will stay in contact for the rest of our lives. Yeah.
So thank you, Nico. I think we are done with questions, and I would really like Nico and Abhinav to maybe say a few final words before we watch the trailer of the episode 5.
Yeah, so I jump in, and then Abhinav launched the Indian trailer. Sounds appropriate. And so when it comes to me, I just want to thank everybody for attending the press conference. I hope you enjoyed the first episode. If you did, please go ahead, because there are 4 other episodes available now on the Olympic channel. We're really keen to actually receive your feedback, to be honest. So please keep contacting us through me, through Abhinav. We will send in a couple of hours or so an email to all of you with 2-3 photos that you guys can use if you want to put an article together, as well as the link to the Olympic Channel press release. So you can find the information, additional information. I mean, we discuss and cover everything, but you'll find it there as well. So you received that media kit. And other than that, just thank you guys. Keep following us, keep supporting us. Help us to find the next Olympic champion that would like to do a similar project, please. And have a great day. Abhinav?
Yes, I'd like to thank each one of you for coming this afternoon, for your time and for your support, for all your questions. We'll move to another clip that we'd like to show you. It is about the India visit. The primary intention was to get the athletes to train at my foundation center in Bangalore, and interact with the Indian shooting community, a group of athletes that I'm proud to say are currently some of the most competent shooting athletes in the world. The athletes not only got to experience a new country and culture, but it also gave them a new perspective on training and how to navigate competition pressure. It was a lovely experience for all of us to have the entire team in India, and I'm sure that will reflect in the trailer of the episode.